Welcome to the Trading Lounge. I'm coming off 2 no trade days in a row just after my biggest win ever of $400. And I'll share a couple of those trades with you guys today. But the purpose of this, I thought I would kind of use the opportunity to answer a couple of the questions I've received in the Discord lately with my setup. Now, today's video is going to be a review of the 2-week free trial at Warrior Trader, but not just like the platform, also how the platform can train you mentally to be a strong trader from a mindset perspective. Even after the trial's over, if you end up not even signing up to Warrior Trader, it's just there's some things you can do in here that can help your mentals, and then also help you with charting in other platforms for like learning how to do day trading and stuff. And so I'm going to go over the setup. And I'm also going to talk about the other ways that the 2-week free trial can help you become a good trader and kind of set you up with an basic understanding of what you need to trade, kind of in that Ross Cameron style, whether it's small cap or large cap or whatever, but just that kind of scalping kind of strategy and that and kind of what we all kind of experience with FOMO. And I just stay with me, and I think we can extract something out of this that's really helped me as well. Because one of the main questions I get is like, how do I set up the charts like in Thinkorswim, or like how do I scalp fast, or like I'm always getting stuck buying high and selling low, and we all go through that. But I just want to go through some of the things I've learned in this setup. So a little bit of a review of the free trial and how I have it set up, and then some of the psychological things around it, and then also the Thinkorswim setup for those of you guys who need that. So let's just get right into it. Well, actually, let's go over the data real quick. I will change this around. I'm no longer going to call it the 1K to 100K day trader challenge or strategy, whatever, because we've added money to this. And so now it's just going to be a small account that I take to $100,000 as fast as I can. And so far, we have profited $1,143 since we started the account in December, which I'm very, very happy with. We have a 69% win rate. And then this is going to change coming into next week. But very happy with how things are going so far. It's been a road. If you've been following me, it's been a road for sure. So when you first sign up to the free trial, this is what you're going to see. This screen is the default screen. Actually, I'll load up real quick because you do get a where is it? Yes, let's do this real quick. I think it actually pops up a chart as well. Let's see. We're actually just going to close it down. So this is what you're going to see. I'm going to close down this chart, and you'll see why in a bit. But so this is what you're going to see when you first start, and I'm just going to go right into getting away from this. The first thing I did was go into layouts and pick Ross's live stream layout. This is what I started with. And you click this button right here, it'll reload his layout in here. And then I tailored this to my needs. So I actually got rid of the charts, all the charts, and And then I kept the running up scanner up here on the right-hand side. And then I have this Ross's 5 pillars. If you want to use this, you can. I decided not to use this, but you certainly can use this scanner. I just decided not to use it. So these are both gone for me. The small cap Hive Day momentum is up above here on this side right here. And then I bring this down. Let's see, low float top gainers and top gainers. I actually prefer the low float top gainers to be on the top. And then one sec. It can be a little bit buggy only because, let's see, how do I adjust this? Let's maybe bring this down here maybe. Yeah, there we go. Something like this. So you see I've got my low float top gainers, small cap Hive Day momentum, and then small cap Hive Day momentum running up. The stock quote, top gainers. And then on the left-hand side, I like to add in the small cap, and I like to put it over here. I should be able to make it so it just goes on this full left-hand side. Where is it? There it is. Now, the small cap, during the regular trading hours, there'll be a chat here, and you'll be able to filter your chat. I can't do it right now, unfortunately, but there's a way you can filter your chat so that we only see chat related to tickers. That's actually really, really nice. And then underneath this, will pop when Ross Cameron goes live, it'll pop up his live feed of his trades. We're going to get into that once I get this all set up, because that's an important piece of the 2-week free trial, in my opinion, and where you can extract a ton of value. So this is my basic setup right here. And then for the alerts, I'll show you what I do on these alerts. I set up everything that says low float. So I go low float, relative medium volume. Let's get rid of this one. And then I don't do anything over $20, so I don't even click that one. Low float, volatility, hunter, low float, high relative volume, and then I grab these squeeze alerts. And then the sound I like to use for this is, where is it? Right here. Is actually, yeah, it kept it, which is great. I like to use the halt one right there for that. And then the running up scanner is the one that really blings a lot. And so this is pretty easy. It only has one setting here. And the one I like to use, you know, this will be your guys' preference on these, but I like to use this first alert that's here. Let me just show you what it is. That alert right there. Excuse me. So that's kind of this is what my scanner screen looks like. And then I end up just moving this actually off of my screen onto the left, which I will show you guys that real quick. So now we have my scanner screen. And now we got to get into charting. And you can use whatever charting you want, but the nice thing about this is that the charting in this system is just ingrained in the system. So when I go to click a ticker in here, when the alert happens, it shows all the information I need down in, let me click this. Come on. Where's the tool? Wow. One sec, guys. There it is. Such a weird tool. You'll see all the information down in here, and then wherever you have your stocks, all the information for the stock will be, wherever you have your chart, the stock information will show up in those charts, which is kind of cool. So we'll go over setting up the charts now. Let's see. I'm gonna move this just back over real quick, so that way. Oh no, I should be able to do it this way. I just don't want to look away from you guys for too long. But let me move it over because my mic's in the way. You know, bear with me here. Cool. So what I like to do then is, underneath layouts, you can pick these 4 linked charts WT default. And you want to use this pop out right here. So you'll pop it out. And this is the default setting for those charts. I'm going to minimize this real quick and then bring this back over to this screen and then bring up my charts on my main screen. And I set these up next to my, right next to my Thinkorswim window here. You can kind of set this up however you guys want, but this is how I have mine set up. And you can click this little button right here to make the charts a little bit bigger. Now, this default layout doesn't actually work for me because of my history with Thinkorswim, I like to have my 1-minute chart down here at the bottom, right down here. So it's pretty easy to set this up. I like to change this all around. So for me, if you go to load layout, you can pick this WT 1 minute. That's where I put my 1-minute chart. And then up above, I put my 10-second chart, WT 10-second chart. And then I like my daily chart to be at the top. So then this all just kind of gets changed around just a little bit. My preference, right? And then down here, I like to see my 5-minute chart right here. And so this is, my 5-minute chart. Well, I don't know why it does that. I don't want it to do, I need to fix this part of it because I really want this to be, no, this is right. No, this is not right. Let's just go to 5 minutes. There, I want to see like as a 5-minute chart. Anyway, so those are the changes I make. I also like to have my margins set right. So I like top margins on my 10-second and 1-minute chart. I like to have my margins set to 20 on the top. I've always liked that. One of the reasons I didn't like Webull charts actually. So it keeps all my charting down in the center, more center of the screen. And you just leave the default linking. So these are all the color blue, which then works with the blue that you see right here. It's all just linking your charts to sync up with what you're clicking here. And we'll click one real quick just so you guys can see. I mean, this isn't rocket science or anything, but I'll click something on the scanner. We'll go RPGL, and everything changes to what that is. Now, I also have another set of charts that I use, and I will pull that up real quick. Let me just move a couple things over. And the way that I'll do that is I'll come back over to the scanner screen over here, and I will add one chart to this right there. Then you have this button here to pop it out right here. And so I'll pop it out, and then I will bring that over to, well, I'll just bring it over here because it's going to make it really easy for me to bring. Actually, I can do it over here. Yeah, let's do it over here just because it makes it easy. And then what I start to do from here is, this is just how I do it. I'll go to layouts now. And, oh wait, did I change how I did this? Okay, let me do this for, yeah, oh, I did change. Now I do link charts. So I'll just do another 4 linked chart default right here. Perfect. And then we just set the same thing up. Now, when you have the full-blown version of this, you can save your chart settings and things of that nature, I do believe. Let's see. So I'm going to go back through and do the same thing here. We're going to load this layout. I wonder if you can copy. So this will be a 10-second chart. And then this is going to be a 1-minute chart. And this is going to be a daily chart. Right? We're just going through the motions. And this is going to be a 5-minute chart. But I want this to be 5-minute, not 1 day. I don't really want, so kind of interesting actually. I'm going to go back to, actually I kind of like this now that I think about it. Let's put this over here to 5 minutes, just kind of so I can see what that looks like. But interesting. Okay, I'm going to leave this here for now. And then you got to give it a different color. So I'm going to give it red. So then what this is, as you can imagine, is now, and I'll get rid of this, now this is so I can watch another stock. So let's do RPGL, and then I take this, pull it off, move it to this other screen that I have, and let me minimize this just so that way it doesn't make you guys go crazy. I'm putting this over here real quick, just getting it set up on this other screen, and then I will punch the screen over so you guys can see what it looks like. Let me just move the recording software out because it's going to be a pain pain for you guys. So then now I can't see it because I can't see the preview, but I'm assuming you can now see my other screen, which has got the Discord and then these charts. So this screen is where I will manage. I'll always have a chart, kind of a stock on watch. I'm only managing 2 stocks at once. Beyond that, I really struggle, and so that's just how I simplify it. Let me put back to the main screen and then pull this back up. Yeah. There we go. Great. I'm loving the way this looks right now. So that's basically my my setup to start here. Let me pull this chart up real quick. And yes, we have the scanner section here with all the scanner information, and then I usually have a couple other scanners next to this, but just because this is about the Warrior Trader 2-week trial, I'm just leaving it like that. Then we have our main screen right here that has this really kind of my work area here. This is where most of my focus is. And then I have what I call my Discord screen, which has the Discord of that I'm in, the daytradingstrategies.net, and then also has another little chart. So that's my initial setup. And then what you do is in here, you save this. So come here, and then you hit, where is it? Right there, save all windows. You just click that, and then you'll get some errors, but don't worry about the errors. It's just because of the way the charts are named. And you can click the little link to learn about what that means, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. We're totally fine. You got to do it on both charts. So I'm going to come over here and do it on this chart as well real fast. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, okay, cool. Back to main. So now, let's just talk about the charts real fast. Don't forget on the other, like if you like margins like I do on that, I didn't do it, but on the other chart I got to set the margins as well to 20 for the 10 second and the 1 minute. Very particular about that. So the charts. The main thing here is going to be this this section right here, and how everything is displayed, because you're going to be able to, if Ross is saying that this is what he uses for his style of trading, then this is probably all you really need if you're just going to be scalping for the most part, small cap stocks, right? And this is kind of how, like, you might not need all the dot plots and all the colorful charts and the colorful plots and all the different strategies and all the different things in Thinkorswim. You might not need all that stuff. You might just need a few basic things, and that's what I have found for this style of trading for me. Now, for other types of trading where I'm really trying to use a strategy, ATR strategy or the 9 EMA strategy, though I might be doing some different things. But for this, you might just need a few basics. And this is what I was talking about with charts, about the fact that you might be able to use this to learn what is used, how charts are used here just by default without you having to change anything. And then when you go to build your charts in Thinkorswim, you can just build them the same way. So we've got, and all the charts have this data, but it's not all pertinent on all the different charts, but it's just nice that they're all here. So every chart has float, market cap, EMA 9, EMA 20, EMA 200, and VWAP. And so that is nice to have on all your charts. I don't use it on all the charts, but it's nice to see VWAP on all the charts though, because the VWAP is the same number across all the charts, which is nice. But some of the other data does change. So, you want to make sure those things are plotted on your chart in Thinkorswim, and you'll kind of learn as you go. Like as you use this 2-week free trial, you'll learn what some of this data means on some of these charts. You don't need the data on all the charts, but it's just here by default, so that's just how I have it set up. But you would definitely, on your 1-minute chart, you would certainly want to make sure that you plot your 9 EMA, 20 EMA, and your 200. 200 is more for the daily chart, but anyway, so just make sure you have all those things. And this is a horrible one. I want to grab one that has, let's grab Anna real quick. Yeah, so this actually has a 200. I wanted to grab something that actually had a 200 on the daily. I don't necessarily want to talk about how to use all the stuff, just kind of what, how this stuff is set up. So the chart has those basic things right there, and then you have some drawing tools you can use as well. But, and then as you can see, like there's the MACD right here. We only have this on the 1-minute chart. Don't need it anywhere else. And then we have volume on all the charts. So volume right here will go on all the charts. That's by default. And that's the setup. So that's it. We've got those EMAs, the VWAP, market cap, float. You can't have float showing on Thinkorswim, so you can't really have that. But the other stuff you can for sure. The EMAs and the VWAP, you can have those things set up over there. So this is a good chance where you can use a different chart for a couple of weeks, and then just use your broker as the way to enter in your trades. So you can just see like what you need from your charts. And then when your 2-week trial is over, before it's over, try to copy over some of the settings and use AI to help you write some of the ThinkScript if you need to. Or you can go to daytradingstrategies.net. They've got some codes there as well. And try to just mimic these same things where you can build out your 9 EMA lines, your 20 EMA lines, your 200, and then your VWAP and your MACD and your volume. It's as basic as that. And I have found this is all I need to be able to scout from a charting platform. Now, over here on this side, where you would have the chat happening here, and you would have the Ross Cameron video right here. Let's just talk about the Ross Cameron thing real quick. When you go to do this 2-week free trial, especially if you're a new trader, the worst thing you can do is copy Ross Cameron's trades, because you can get caught in some crazy stuff. A lot of times he's not going to trade the stuff that you have decided you want to trade because the price might be too low or the float might be too high. Or just got to think, like, for someone who has a lot of money, they're not necessarily going to be needing to trade the same thing you are. If you're only looking for get in and out for 5 cents or 10 cents and get out one trade a day kind of thing while you're trying to grow your account, it's a different tactic than someone who's trying to scalp their way all the way up a move, willing to risk a ton up at the top with the intent of the stock moving up higher, and then having that reject sometimes and lose quite a bit of money there, right? Like, it's really tough. You don't want to do that. You don't want to copy his trades. And I don't even watch his streams on the platform. I did for the 2-week trial, because what's important here is that you can learn from him. There's a couple things you can do. You can study how he trades, when he's entering, when he's exiting, why he's entering, why he's exiting, how, like this very specifics about how he goes about his trading, and you can learn from that. And then the great thing about this platform is that even for the 2-week free trial, you get access to what's called the Pro Mentor Room, to where you get to see his cool little recap on YouTube, but he goes for a long time every day in the mentor room. and goes through specifics on the trade that he made, the trades that he made, and goes over exactly what he was thinking, exactly when he went in. The whole thing is on display for you to learn how to trade in that way. Now, that's just from like the learning perspective side of it. Now, the psychological side, which I think is extremely important, is there is a FOMO effect when it comes to trading. Like especially if you're watching someone else trade and they're making a ton of money, your heart starts racing and it's hard to not want to get in when someone else is getting in. But if you can train your mind and your body to not respond to when Ross is going in on a trade, and you're saying, I'm not going on that trade because that's not the stock that I've like targeted, that's not the setup I've targeted, and you go in on stuff that he's not even going in on, and you're being successful, you can train yourself to not get your heart rate up and the FOMO feeling when it comes to trading. That is like the hidden secret of this platform. If you start the 2-week trial, throw up the video. Don't trade what Ross trades. Pick your strategy, pick your setup, your stock price, whatever you're trying to do, and stick just to that, and that is it. If he happens to be trading that, great. If not, don't enter it. And then you've decided not to enter, just watch and see how he trades and what he does. And then hang around for the mentor recap and really learn what happens there. But where the video really benefited me was that feeling of wanting to get in when someone else is getting in, and then eventually you just phase that out. Now, if I watch it now, I'm able to phase out the moves he's making and focus on the moves I'm trying to make. And then it just teaches you to be able to do that. It's a really weird thing. I don't know how to explain it. There's probably someone smarter than me that can tell you why this works. But to me, it kind of goes back to like, this is going to be really, really weird analogy. But when I was younger, I think I used to care a lot about what people think. And then there was a time in my life where I decided I was going to wear my hat in areas where you typically would be kind of frowned upon. At least that's what I thought. Weddings, churches, things like that. I started wearing my hat in places. I've told a story before. Wearing my hat in places that you would kind of get judged by, like wearing your hat. Like I wore it to a Catholic church. I ended up taking it off in the Catholic church. The old man behind me was like, "Hey, can you excuse me, sir? Can you please take your hat off?" Respect. Took it off. But after so much time of doing that, it kind of got me to not really care what other people think about me. And that's where I got the idea to listen to the videos, to then filter out the noise and recognize that emotion that's happening when Ross Cameron is making $50,000 and I'm not making anything on that stock, and I want to get in, but I shouldn't get in, and I get in late, lose $500, right? And then it's like, okay, well, we need to let's process these emotions. Let's feel this thing happen and not make the trade. And then the next step is recognizing that that's not even a trade that I wanted to get in on, and I'm only going to enter in on the setups that I want to get in on. And of course, I'm going to make mistakes. Everyone's going to make mistakes. I almost made a trade today that I was like, this is not my setup. But I ended up not doing it. So that's like the big pro tip I want to give you for the 2-week free trial. Set up your charts. Set up your charts how you want. Use one of my setup if you want. Learn that this is kind of all you need to be able to trade like this. Then in Thinkorswim or whatever your platform is, just copy the charts, enter in the data, get the charts to look exactly the same before your 2-week trial is up. Watch as much video as you can of him trading, and then especially, honestly, really just the recaps if you want. But I think it's important to listen to him trade and go in, and you feel that feeling that you get when there's FOMO, and then you just settle it down and you calm back down and you focus on your trades, and eventually, as he's making trades, it doesn't even affect you because you've already determined that that's not a trade you're going to make. I'm telling you guys, that is, so far on this channel, I think that's the biggest pro tip that I could give, and I don't even know if anyone's going to see this. You know what I mean? So as far as that's my setup, as far as like my review of the platform, I really enjoy the platform. There's plenty of other free platforms out there that are pretty good. If you want to pay some money and use the scan platform, by all means. It's pretty beneficial. I love the way that it works. I like the way the scanners work. I like the way the charts work. I like the way the charts interact with it when I click it. But use whatever chart you want. But boy, there's no reason not to use the 2-week. It's not a free trial. It's like $20. Sorry, 2-week trial, and like learn and spend time educating yourself on how someone successfully does this by watching the mentor room videos. And then, okay, it's enough about that rant. So anyway, I love the platform. That's how I would set. This is how I would set it up. Now let's talk about the way I have Thinkorswim set up to be able to make some moves. Let me remove this platform over here. Okay, so let me get a little bit of water. I started off in Thinkorswim and using different charts I learned from Trey over at daytradingstrategies.net, his YouTube channel. And I'll link that video in here. It's like this setup, and I would still use that setup today if I didn't have wasn't trying these charts out. Where you have on this section would all be the charts, and I'd still have this entry window. This is kind of how I got this idea. This is how I always had my little entry window, and then there was like a daily chart up here, and then a few other charts over here, and some scanners on this side. That's how I had it set up. And so this is just on the right hand side. It's kind of a dumbed down version of Thinkorswim that gives me the basics of what I need. At least I feel like I need in order to be able to make these scalps. So if something hits the scanner, I'll click it, and I've determined if I want to enter, right? And then really quickly, I'll put it in over here as well. RPGL. You can copy and paste it too. I just have I choose to type it in manually. And so, I'm looking at the tape, I'm looking at this over here, and I'm looking at the charts, and I'm deciding if I want to get in. So let's talk about the Thinkorswim setup specifically. On the tape over here, by the way, this is a grid. So I have, it's called a flexible grid. It's underneath charts right here. You can do this however you want. Some people like to come underneath this trade window, and I'll show you that real quick, where you can then click this button here and you can set up you can have different grids this way as well. I just have chosen to have it on the other side or on this other, on charts. Let me get rid of this real quick, because that's where it was set up originally for me, and I just haven't gotten away from it. And so then I end up just using this like customized grid feature. So you're going to have to set this up however you want. But an easier way would probably just to go into this trade section here and set up those windows, and then you can start playing around with how to actually set this up. Let me get rid of this customized grid. And I'll I'll put a link to this specific setup. But so on the tape, you can customize this tape. So I customize this to only show ask and TS. So it shows the time by default. And then I picked the ask price. That's just what I chose. I really don't care about the price here. I'm really just looking at the colors anyway. And then the sizes. And you can come right here. Where is it? Right in here. You can click in here and you can pick custom filter. And I have picked minimum of 100 because I don't want to see trades under 100. It's just like especially like the onesie twosies, and like I don't want to see any of that stuff. So I want to see only a size over 100. It just fits my eye really, really well. I've also changed the way that this section looks right here. The way that this is set up is, I believe when you first load in Thinkorswim, that I know for a fact these are not in this order. And actually, I will just I don't want to close out of it. And this for some reason resets every time, no matter how many times I save it. So basically, I move these over. I move the ask over here and the bid over here, so they're right next to each other, because that's just how I like to see it. And then I move the size just to the outside of that. So this is the size right here. Oops, sorry, here. And then the exchange on the outside. So then I can just see, like, when I'm in a trade, I'm only looking, kind of in this section. I'm also watching size as well, but I just really want to be focused on this section right here. Okay. And then you can also set up this to be whatever you want as well. And that's through this section right here, customize. And so this is what I have in here. You can screenshot this or whatever you want to do. This is how I have this set up. And I'm going to do a trade here in just a few minutes so you can see what this looks like. But this just gives me all the information that I need to be able to get in and out of a trade and know what's going on, in my opinion. And then this is a pretty important setup right here. I actually don't use the buttons. They were there originally just visually for me when I thought I was going to use buttons. And this doesn't really work for my eye. Typically, it would be more like, let me move this over here. One sec. I would want that sell bid button to be underneath so it's stacked. Watch right there. I wanted it like that, but I can't. A lot of times I can't see some important information right here, specifically if something is hard to borrow, which I want to know. If the stock ticker, if that, sometimes I can't see that. So I had to move this out. I just haven't made the adjustment yet. Let's go right here. That'll work. So I actually don't use any of the buttons. Occasionally I will use cancel all, but I actually have that bound to Alt E, and I'll show you those in just a second. But they're just there visually. Occasionally I will hit the cancel all button. I don't ever hit flatten because I'm really never trading during normal trading hours, and that's the only time you can use that, I believe, because it's a market order. And then I have this set up right here, which is your template single, auto send if you want to auto send something, which is important for scalping, and then your TIF, which day for normal day trading, the normal hours, and then I use extended for before and pre-market and after hours. And then you can come into the settings icon here, and you can set up what you want these to look like. And so this is just how I have it set up, because I have about $5,000 in the account, and I kind of know like what my price range is. I want to stay under, I want to be right around $5 or less, maybe maximum like $7, $8, $9 or less. So these numbers kind of work out for me to be able to quickly punch in to be able to make a trade. And the way that I know position size, so one of the questions I've got is like, how do I get in and out of a trade quickly? Well, in order to do that, you got to know the share size that you want to put in. Unless you have an account with a ton of money, and then once you get to a point where you just know 1,000 shares or 2,000, whatever your number is, you can just plug that in and go. But as you're starting, if you're trying to maximize, like I am, sometimes I need to pick 600 or 4K or 2K. And the way that I know that is I have this little widget that I've installed up here, and I will share this as well. And every time I pick a new stock, it needs to be a little bit more active. Unfortunately, let me see if I can pick one that's active. This one might be active. See, it says how many shares I can buy with my maximum buying power. Because I'm really, at this stage, I'm going all in and all out for the most part. I might half that and say I'm going to go 3K, 3K, or I might just say 3K and be done. And then I have to go in and make this adjustment. But the way that I make that adjustment is and I'll share this link for you guys. Did that show anything? No, it didn't show anything. Great. Is under studies edit. Oh, sorry about that. I want to turn that sound off real quick. Let me turn that alert off so it doesn't blow away my eardrums real fast. I don't think I'm going to make a trade today. Let's pull that stock up. Mask, actually. No. Anyway, the way you make this change is studies, edit studies, and then you click this little button here, and you put your amount that you have in your account in here and hit OK, and then it'll automatically, so every day I just update that based on the information I have up here. And then it'll just automatically adjust based on the stock that I put in here. Like if I was to put in, SPY in here, right? Oops, sorry. So I can only buy 8 shares. See, so it automatically updates. Then based on that information, I update this. So SPY would be a really, really bad example. Mask was probably a better example. Let me go back to Mask. And then right there it says 2,300. So I would just click 2K and then I would enter if my enter criteria work. That's how I enter fast into a stock. So let's just say RPGL went off. I'm checking the chart. I'm pulling it in right here. RPGL says I can buy 6,000. I'll pick 5K. Bam, I enter. Right? And the way that I enter is via shortcuts. Now, I don't think I can bring up the shortcut window for you guys because I tried it earlier and it does show my account information. And I don't really want to show that, which is kind of annoying. But you can go into shortcuts into Thinkorswim, and I have my shortcut set to Alt. And this just because that's how my fingers lay on my keyboard. See if I can show this to you guys. We can do this probably full screen. Yeah. So the way my fingers lay on the keyboard, just from like my gaming, is my thumb will go on Alt, my finger goes on W, and my other 2 fingers go on 1 and 2. So for me, Alt W is buy the ask. So I just hit Alt W when I want to enter. I don't really care about offsets. You can't do offsets in Thinkorswim anyway. Like, I don't use ladders. Whatever the price is, the price is. And I don't have any problem getting in using this, by the way. I just pick my shares, I hit Alt W, and I get in. And sure, sometimes there's partial fills, but whatever. And then I just hit Alt 1 to get out on the bid. I have my finger set on 2 because in Webull I can sell on the ask with an offset. But in Thinkorswim, it doesn't function well at all to sell on the ask, in my opinion. You can do it, but you might have to cancel your order. And then I just have to go Alt E right here to then cancel an order if I need to cancel an order for any reason. And so that's how I get in and out of a trade really quickly, is with those shortcuts. And there's some hate on shortcuts in Thinkorswim for some reason. I don't really understand why, because they're not really shortcuts. Sure, you can buy and sell, but you can't do offsets. It's kind of annoying. But that's how I get in and out of a trade quickly. I'm definitely not here. I'm not about this. I can't. First of all, there's some people who don't even have this up. You got to have that up if you're trying to manage this. Unless you have so much money in there that you automatically have it set to 1,000 shares, you can hit this button and it'll just always be, that'll be your default. And so like right here, if I hit buy bid, it will pull this up. And then you can fix this so this doesn't always happen. And then there's be a default in here that you can set. Like if you're having to deal with this, then you're not going to be fast enough to do scalps. I personally think this is the way. So let's just say that I pull up this stock, and I don't want to do this one. Let's do SCO. Of course, it's at $8. Hoping it was lower than that. I'll do another video on this stock, actually. I've been trading this stock in my FSA, whatever that account's called, HSA account, over the last week or so. But I can't trade it on this account, really. So we're just going to do one. I'll pick auto send. And so, the stock comes up. I'll pull it up. Here, we'll type it in. We look and see how many shares we can get. Right now, I'm just going to do one because it just makes sense to do one right now. And then I'm literally just going to hit, like Alt 1. Like, I'm just going to do it right here. Can I do it? Like, bam. That's how it got rejected. So that worked out really, really well. I don't know why that got rejected. Let me take a look at my messages real quick. Short sales. Oh yeah, I picked the wrong one. I actually went to sell it, but anyway, I'm just gonna hit Alt T. I'm not gonna show you the keyboard. I'm just gonna hit Alt W to buy this. But I want to show you how fast this is. So let's go. Where can I? This thing's in my way. Bring it up to the keyboard. This is a horrible way. I'm going to lose some viewers here, but I'm going to hit it right there. That's how fast it was. That's fast. And I'm going to leave it there. I don't really care if I lose money on this, but this will show you kind of what I have set up right here, right? So this section here shows me my position. Long shows me. You'll understand what this means as you trade. And then there's an average price. The way Thinkorswim works is it averages you out. So if I was to buy 5,000 shares of this, I'm going to get an average price. And if you go look and see how it bought it, it's going to grab shares all around the price that you keyed it. I actually really enjoy that because some platforms don't do that. So liquidity sweep is what I'm calling it. I think that's what it's called. And then you get your PL open and your PL for the day in here. And this is spaced intentionally because if I shrink it, watch what happens. It actually gets small. See how that all got small right there? So I have this sized to where I make sure that never gets small and stays big no matter how many shares I get. So once I enter in, I'm looking at this average price. Once I enter into a stock, I'm not looking at the charts anymore, really. I'm looking at average price. I'm looking at the ask and the bid, and I'm determining when I'm going to get out. This isn't going to be a great example of a stock, but I just want to show you guys what this looks like once you go in. And that was based off of this information. I put in one right here. If I was to click 500 and hit that button, I would have bought 500 shares of that, which I don't want to do. But I'm going to sell this real quick, and then I'm going to show you just how quickly you can get in and out of a trade if you need to in Thinkorswim. But I'll quickly sell this for a 2-cent loss. We are not counting this towards my loss ratio. by the way. Let me buy one more just so you can see like what that actually. Ooh, boys, we almost bought 500. That would have pissed me off. Let's buy one more of these. Bam. So now we have 2 in there. You can kind of see what happens there. And then watch what happens when we'll sell this. I'll sell 2 of them. Just do that real quick. And then I'll sell that real quick on the... Well, let me do on the ask just because of the... Oh, I got rid of it. I took away the ask because it kept accidentally hitting it, so we'll sell on the bid. Okay, so we're in and out. And so then this tells you your P&L for the day, and this tells you that you're out. And your position flat is 0, so you know that you're out, which is nice. And it shows up on this chart. And the only reason why I have this chart up here is so that way I can use this tool. I don't use the chart at all, but I did find it's actually kind of nice to have this information show up for me at times, especially if my order's hanging around and I might be looking, like figuring out what's going on, and I can quickly cancel it right here. You can also cancel right here or use my shortcut that I have. But now I'll show you just how quickly with the hotkeys you can get in and out of a trade. And you're not going to do this, right? You're not going to get in and out of a trade immediately unless you enter in by accident, which I have done. But you can do this in, if you're trying to scalp in under 10 seconds, or you enter in on the candle over candle high and it pops up 8 cents, you get out real quick and you're out. And sometimes my trades are 4 seconds, right? So I'm going to just buy one of these and I'm just going to roll my fingers, and show you guys just how quickly we're going to try this again. I'm going to roll my fingers across this keyboard and we're just going to do this real fast. So this is going to be basically as fast as I can do it. It did it. In and out. Like it entered and exited as fast as you can blink. That does not happen on Webull. I'm telling you. It doesn't happen. And that's what drove me away from Webull is Thinkorswim does a very good job of, as soon as I hit that button, it displays an average price right here, and I know what my average price is right away. Once it's filled, but the fill's right away though, for the most part, unless you've got a lot of shares it's filling it. But I'm just saying that usually when I go to buy, and you guys can hear that sound in there, as soon as the sound goes off in this thing, my price is right there. It's right there. Fast. And exit, done. It's fast, dude. And that's just something I really love about the platform. So that answers the question I got on Discord about how Thinkorswim is set up for me to enter and exit fast on the scalps. It doesn't answer when to enter. The scanner answers how to find stocks that give you an opportunity to make a scalp on low float type stuff. You can scalp anything you want. You can scalp high cap stocks if you want. It's actually quite safe. You can scalp 3 cents and get out of there and do it again. 3 cents, 4 cents. Just use scalp all day long if you want to. And this is the setup that I used to do it. It's all just through that little hotkey, Alt W, Alt 1. We're in and out of a trade, no problem. That's the setup. So this is kind of my... Hope you guys enjoy. Hope you got some value out of this. If you hung around, this is my... just remember, I got to pick up my kid in 10 minutes. Whew, thank goodness I remember that. The scanner setup that I use and how I set that up specifically for the 2-week trial setup, the psychological side of listening to Ross trade and having to deal with those emotions of that kind of that FOMO that you feel, and then the Thinkorswim kind of layout. I also put the news widget up here. I forgot to talk about that. It's actually very helpful to have that because sometimes even on Warrior Trader, I'll click the stock, I'll enter the stock here, it's running up, but the news hasn't caught you up yet on Warrior Trader, and I will see it right here in Thinkorswim. And sometimes it doesn't show in Thinkorswim, it shows first in, so it's nice to have two sources, but a lot of times I'll see it in Thinkorswim, and then I'll know that I can get in, and that's even before I saw the news on the Warrior Trader platform. So that's why I have the news widget in there, just so I can see if there's news in there. And then yeah, the Thinkorswim, this is my basic setup for Thinkorswim, and this is what I feel like. There's one more piece here this is the ladder. I don't think you can turn the ladder off. I'm pretty sure you can't turn it off. And so I just changed everything in here. I don't use the ladder. I customized it so that way it only had the bare minimum in here. There was a requirement in here, and then I just hit it because I can't stand it. I don't want to order. I don't want to see it or nothing. And I just put price there. That gapping helps me with the sizing in here when I showed you how to make things bigger versus smaller. That is my setup in there. Thank you guys for hanging out. If you have any questions, I'll let me know for sure. This might not have been the best way to go about this, but you know what? I wanted to answer a couple questions, and it helps me work through my setup as well, and specifically showing you guys how fast. I'll do another video of like the actual time it takes to enter an Exeter trade. Same with Webull. I'll compare them, put them in Premiere Pro, and show you guys exactly how long that's taking. Ross did that a while back, but I think it's much different than when he did it, because what I have found is that it's quicker to see what you're filled at in Thinkorswim over Webull. The fill rates are probably about the same, but when I actually see what I've been filled at after I hit the button, like it's faster in Thinkorswim. Anyway, I lost my train of thought, but I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and hopefully next week they're not a bunch of no trade days. I look forward to trading next week and hearing how you guys do. I did try to trade. I'll just real quick. I did try to trade CHNR on Thursday. I didn't try to trade it. Sorry, I was getting coffee and I came back and like it was a random news time at 4:15 or something. And it went right by me. And I just didn't feel comfortable entering later than that. So I didn't enter the trade. And then today, I just didn't see anything that I really liked. I saw something after the bell, MNDR, and I was just watching. I've been learning how to trade after the bell rings on this account, but I didn't actually do it. And when I went to decide to do it, the MACD turned negative, and I just waited and decided not to do it. But I think I am going to, at some point, I'm going to start trading then, just because there's not a lot of opportunities, and H has been really, really slow. So love you guys. Don't know why I said that, but I do. I hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you later.